Hello, everybody. Welcome to This is MLS. Jillian Sakovits with you this week alongside the dynamic duo, two-time Golden Boot winner and MLS great Bradley Wright Phillips, and the guy that chronicles MLS greatness week in and week out on Sunday Night Soccer. Hashtag, where's Weeby? Andrew Weeby. Hello,
Hey, Brad, where's your hashtag? I mean, I guess it would be Golden Boot, but I'm playing Sasha today. I'm just trying to feed Brad. We're scoring goals, Brad. I'm going to make you look good, okay?
I like this. I do have a hashtag. It's called Old and Retired. Type it up, you'll see me.
But that's washed, Brad. Hashtag washed.
Yeah, that's what the kids will say, right?
Let's get right into the big game this week. CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinals. Thursday, Messi and Inter Miami, last year's Supporter Shield winners, taking on the Supporter Shield leaders this season. That's right, the Vancouver Whitecaps. Both of these sides, guys, looking to punch their first ever ticket to the final. Storylines galore. What's the biggest thing you're keeping your eyes on?
Jillian, this is the biggest match in Vancouver Whitecaps history. Everyone will talk about Inter Miami and Lionel Messi, all the pressure that's on the GOAT in this Miami team that's chasing every single trophy. But Vancouver have an opportunity to do something they've never done in their MLS history, and that is step up in a massive moment and advance to a final that's not the Canadian Championship. Messi's coming to BC Place on Thursday. The Whitecaps don't just have a chance. I would argue they should be the favorite in this match. The crazy thing is, I don't expect them to wilt under pressure, and that is in direct opposition to their entire history. They've been in this part of the competition once before in 2017. Tigres made them look like the underdog that they were. They've never been past the conference semifinals before in MLS Cup playoffs. But on this day, on Thursday, the Vancouver Whitecaps, thanks to their form, both in results and performances, should be considered the favorite to get a result. Remember, this is the team that knocked off Saprissa, Monterrey, Pumas, got 2 results in Mexico to get here. They're atop the Supporter Shield. They're doing it with a new coach, without their star player in Ryan Gauld. And may I remind you, this club is publicly up for sale, and yet they're here. The Vancouver Whitecaps are the story in this match, and that's a game that has Lionel Messi in it as well.
Weeby, when you said biggest game of their history, franchise history, I'm thinking, can't be. But you're right. It's the biggest game for them. And you know what is refreshing about that? They've done it their way. Vancouver, since I've been in the league, they've never gone out and bought a big superstar to carry them up the league. This has started a few years ago, this journey. And, if we just go back to early years, it's Vanni Sartini coaching this team up, getting the love from just the neutral fan. And then Jesper Sorensen steps in and improves this side. And now to see them at this stage of the CONCACAF Champions Cup, it's amazing. And you know what's even better? They're going to cause this Inter Miami team some problems. Inter Miami have been getting away with murder. I promise you that. There's teams that should have beat them. And I like Inter Miami. I love watching them. Obviously, they got the stars. But there's teams that should have beat them, in the last month. I'm thinking of Toronto, Chicago, LAFC in the CONCACAF Champions Cup. There's another team I may be missing, but they've been lucky. And this Vancouver side do not let up easy. They're very efficient and can score goals.
There is nothing lucky about what Vancouver are doing. I go back to it. Brad, if we would have told you, me, anybody who pays close attention to MLS at the start of the season that this Whitecaps group, without Ryan Gauld, are leading the Supporter Shield race and could knock off Miami and go to a CONCACAF Champions Cup final, we would have laughed them out of the room. It would have been patently ridiculous. But there is something different about this Caps group. A tactical cohesion, emotional maturity, and a deep vein of quality in big moments. Now it's time to prove it, man. It's time to go take the championship step that no other Caps team has done before and to do it against the GOAT. And the flip side is, it's the GOAT. So think back to that LAFC series. Even when LAFC were up 1-0 after the first leg, guess who got the job done? It's the GOAT and his buddies.
Weeby,
yeah.
Joe.
Miami, though, won that 3-1 at home. So I have to ask, Weeby, I feel like I know where you're going with this one. You're very high on the Vancouver Whitecaps. So, Brad, when the series does shift back to Miami next week, who wins this series?
The Vancouver Whitecaps.
Ooh.
I think we know. I think Vancouver Whitecaps win for the reason I said. Vancouver they're efficient, man. All sides of every facet of the game, they're good at. Solid. Brian White's on absolute fire right now. If he's given a chance, I think he's taking it. And that's the one little weakness for Inter Miami I see. They do give you chances, but you have to take them.
Jill, you said I was high on the Whitecaps. I might be high on the Whitecaps. I'm not high on my own supply. I'm still in the end going to pick Inter Miami. I just think Vancouver have every possible chance in this. It's just impossible for me with the money on the line, with Messi on the brink of a final he absolutely is desperate to be in and win for his club, that they wouldn't get the job done. So I'm going to play it safe. Inter Miami, but my heart, that's with you, Vancouver.
We quickly. We spoke a little bit yesterday. Is this the biggest game in Inter Miami's history?
I think it is also the biggest game in Inter Miami's history, just in terms of the stakes, in terms of the context, and in terms of what the result means. The stakes are very clear. It's going to a regional final, a place that Lionel Messi lived and won titles in Europe. And the context is very clear as well. Miami haven't gotten the job done in big games like this before. That LAFC game, it was really the first time we saw it. So, Brad, that ups the stakes on both sides. Both desperate, both need to get into a final, both want to win it. It's the biggest match in both clubs' MLS history. I completely agree.
That's crazy. Crazy thing.
Okay. All right.
Crazy.
So bigger than winning the League's Cup final, bigger than lifting the Supporter Shield at Columbus, bigger than their 3-game series against Atlanta, where they did not go on in the MLS Cup playoffs. Okay. All right. I'm hyped for this one. The winner of this series will face Tigres or Cruz Azul in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final in the Eastern Conference. Miami third in the East with a game in hand. Only they and the New England Revolution have played 8. Miami 2 points back of 1 point rather of Charlotte FC. That's right. For the first time ever, we are uttering the words top of the East. Charlotte FC, conference leaders. Big thanks to that 5-0-0 form at the bank. Still the only perfect team at home. Manager Dean Smith, guys, admitted this weekend. He said, I didn't have us top of the East heading into match day 10. So I want to know, for Bradley Wright Phillips and Andrew Wiebe, where do you have Charlotte FC?
Brad, you do the honors, my man.
Go for it.
I'm
Come
sorry,
on,
Charlotte.
we're not going to play this in the Charlotte locker room.
I have you fourth. And I'll tell you why. Inter Miami, Columbus, Cincinnati, I've seen them do this throughout a season. I've seen consistency. Inter Miami with the stars they have, the way they're defending at the moment, I see them staying and sticking around top 3. Since he played, since he have had a great season, gone under the radar, they've had half the team injured. You know what I mean? They're just getting Matt Miazga back. Evander was out the game before last. They're doing this bandaged up. So Cincy, for me, they have to be in that top 3. And Columbus with Wilfred Nancy, I think anyone he's taken on, he carries that team to fight for shields, and that'll be each season.
You know how I feel, Brad. Deep in my heart, I always want to disagree with you. I want you to say something that I can push back on, and I just can't do it this time. I'm with you. It's Miami and the state of Ohio in 1, 2, and 3, and then Charlotte pushing to get up into that group. Frankly, points at this point in the season, a fourth of the way through, that's the easy way out. I'm basing it on performances and what those performances say about the trajectory of these teams in the rest of the season. So you made the points on the top 3. Let's just talk Charlotte for a second. I am super impressed by Charlotte. They're typically structured and dogged defensively. Pep Biel looks like a really shrewd signing in his first full season. He looks like a best 11 player, which we might get to in a little bit. However, it does concern me a bit that there doesn't seem to be a secondary chance creation engine outside of Biel. That should be Wilfred Zaha. It may well be. But right now, in my opinion, Wilfred Zaha has not been a consistent match-winning presence in terms of winning his 1v1s, delivering a killer ball at the end of that, or just putting the ball in the back of the net himself. And that is what's going to hold Charlotte back. That secondary chance creation engine, and oh, by the way, their road form. Congratulations on 5 wins out of 5 at home. But the very best teams in the league get it done home and away, and Charlotte still has to prove that.
You're right. We've just got to be better away from home. Listen, and you said a second chance creator, and that Wilfred Zaha will step up. I've been in his shoes. When you first get into this country, the travel, the heat, a lot of challenges, getting acclimated with your teammates. I think Wilfred Zaha needs to figure out how to use his teammates, and his teammates need to figure out how to use him. I think once you start seeing Wilfred Zaha isolated, in 1v1 situations, you're going to start seeing the best of him. And I think, that gives them an extra, weapon in attack.
Charlotte 1, 2, and 1 away from home this season. Brad, Zaha has time, right? We're only heading into match day 10. You said it yourself. You've been in his shoes. Do you think he finishes the season with 15 plus goals?
No, 15 plus goals will be a lot. It'll be a lot of goals for him to get. We're 10 games in already. I would think him getting 10 goals, 7 to 8 assists would be a solid season for Wilfred Zaha in his first season here.
I completely agree. 15 plus goals plus assists. That would be plenty for this Charlotte team, given the way Abada is performing, the way Biel has stepped up, and then Ajiman's leap as well. Now, look, Charlotte, you might post this on the bulletin board. You say, hey, Weeby's an idiot. Bradley Wright Phillips knows nothing. The good news is you can prove us both wrong, and you can do it in the next 11 games. 8 of the next 11 are on the road for Charlotte. Includes 2 games against the Crew, home and away. Now's the time. Prove it. Prove you belong in the top 3.
We've seen MLS soccer personality quotes highlighted, laminated, everything, and hung in a locker room. So go wild with it. Go wild with it, Charlotte.
I think you're very good, and I respect you, Charlotte.
Yeah,
that's it.
Great too.
Weeby, hashtag where's Weeby? Where are you going this weekend?
I'm going to LA, LAFC.
That's right, LAFC. Take it on St. Louis City Sunday night soccer at BMO Stadium. An absolute showdown kicking off 7 p.m. Eastern time. Our coverage will begin on the MLS Season Pass at 6 o'clock Eastern. On Friday, LAFC manager Steve Cherundolo announcing that after 4 seasons, this will be his last in MLS, saying that he and his family have made the difficult decision to move back to Germany. Weeby, when you heard this, what was your reaction?
Well, I was shocked, Jill, and I was actually in Los Angeles. I was at Disneyland with my family, and I check my phone and I see Steve Cherundolo is walking away from LAFC at the end of the season, and I was flabbergasted. I actually saw 2 LAFC fans, and we had a moment. We looked at each other and we're just like, is this real? Is this actually happening? Now, I'm not so much shocked by the fact that Cherundolo feels he needs a break after some very intense years. I'm not shocked he wants to get his family back to Germany, which is home for his wife and daughters, and I'd argue home for him as well as an adult. That part, the breather, the reset, and a comfortable and familiar surrounding, I completely understand that. Brad, I am shocked simply from the timing of the announcement in April. LAFC hoped to play this year for 8 more months. The pressure is clearly on. To me, this is the end of an era, the second era for LAFC, and this group should feel like they ought to go out and get another trophy or 2.
Couldn't have said it any better. Weeby, I'm still confused. I'm still wondering if it's coincidence that you went to LA and he wants to run away when you get there. That's crazy to me.
No comment. No comment on that, my man.
No, but yeah, Steve.
Brad,
Go on, Jill.
Brad, I'd love to know from you, because Weeby points it out that this announcement is being made in April, and right? This is a team that hopes to be playing in November and December. From a player's perspective, you find out your manager is gone at the end of the season. What does that do for the player mindset?
It's a tricky one, Jill, because it depends who you are in that locker room, right? Who you are inside those walls. There's going to be players in that side that haven't played much under Steve Cherundolo and look at this as maybe I get a chance, when he goes. But for me, I think, I've dealt with this. I remember Jesse Marsh in 2018. We knew that he was leaving halfway through. And for me as a player, I just wanted to play the best I could up until he left. I wanted to win that shield so he could leave with something and we could leave on a good note. But for me, it just depends who you are in that locker room. I would hope, he has the camaraderie of that squad and they all want to do well for him so they can send him off on a good note. Because what you want to say, but you can say what you want about Steve Cherundolo, he's brought that team silverware.
I really respect, Brad, the way Steve was forthright in all of this, that he didn't avoid the hard question. He didn't let these questions dribble all the way to the end of the season. The announcement may be a little bit of a shock in timing, but it gives the LAFC group and staff complete clarity about their future. The club can immediately begin a coaching search that ought to attract top candidates for the future. And in the end, I give Cherundolo huge credit. He made and executed this decision with his family in mind. It was the primary driver, and that is the same way he's coached LAFC the last 3+ years, the way he announced this, pragmatically and with the club first. Huge respect for Steve, who has been a massive, massive success in Major League Soccer.
And that success includes a MLS Cup and a Supporter Shield in 2022. 2023, they went to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. And then last year, winning the first ever U.S. Open Cup title. And that's when Olivier Giroud arrived. But before we move on, I want to talk about Olivier Giroud's first MLS goal. He got an absolute screamer of a goal off of a free kick this past weekend. And in the celebration, guys, I noticed a little something. Let's just let's just give that a moment.
When it hits the crossbar twice, it just makes the goal even better. Beautiful strike.
Worth the 20 point, would you say? Lead game, wait.
What's that?
But guys, this is what I noticed. France's all-time leading goal scorer and the best head of hair in the soccer world for the last 2 decades Is Olivier Giroud growing a little bit of a mullet? And all I want to know, is this a conscious choice, or are we just getting a little wild out in LA? Because I love the ball, and then I fixated on this.
I don't talk haircuts. I'll leave this one for Weeby.
Perfect.
Well, Brad would know this just as well as I do, that every haircut decision is a conscious choice, whether or not you're bicking it or you're in my part doing this. So Olivier Giroud has made a choice, and I respect that choice. There's a little bit of lettuce back there. If you've been on TikTok, if you watch the kids, and again, I was at Disneyland, there is a lot of lettuce going on in the younger generation, and Olivier Giroud can do whatever he wants to do, in my opinion. He's got the resume to do it. I just hope one day that my lettuce is accepted in the same way that his is.
I really just wanted to know, is it a mullet? And apparently mullets are back, and
it's like it's like a quarter mullet. It's like, just the beginnings of a mullet.
Well, Weeby, you got an assignment on Sunday, okay? You got to go ask the hard-hitting questions.
Oh boy. I'll do my best to corner Olivier.
Giroud's LAFC with 4 wins on the season, sitting in 7th place in the West. Their opponent this weekend, St. Louis City, 2 wins on the season, 12th place. But then you look a little bit further down the table. The other LA team, the LA Galaxy, the reigning champs, off to the worst start to defending a title in MLS history. No wins on the season, 3 points from 9 games. This is shocking to think about. The last MLS win for the LA Galaxy was MLS Cup in December. So some, naturally, as happens on social media, calling for Vanny out. Someone tweeted it. And Ricky Pooch swiftly coming to his manager's defense, quote tweeting it, no. So Ricky saying, Greg Vanny, not to blame. Weeby, who is to blame?
Well, it's not Greg Vanny. It's not his fault, the manager, but it is his job to fix what is already a disastrous start for this Galaxy team. In some ways, it's Ricky Pooch's fault. And I don't mean that in the sense that I'm blaming Ricky Pooch in any way. Please, Ricky, do not read that in the wrong context. But the crux of this problem is a domino effect off of one man, and that's Ricky. Ricky is the most irreplaceable player in all of Major League Soccer. Nobody's more ball dominant. Nobody demands to dictate every single action more. So for the Galaxy, we saw this the last few seasons, every attacking and defensive action basically starts with these 3 questions. Where does Ricky want the ball? Where does Ricky have the ball, and what is he doing with it? And where did Ricky lose the ball? So that void with Ricky Pooch out with the knee injury puts a huge responsibility on others, Brad, and those players have to answer the questions. And so far, nobody has been able to make the game for the Galaxy without Ricky. Marco Reus hasn't been able to do it. His knee injury hasn't allowed him. He's not the same style of player. The offseason shakeup in the midfield has changed the chemistry, and the defense was just okay last year. They needed the best attack in the West to bail them out more times than not. So the dominoes are falling, and they're all falling from the first domino. That's Ricky Pooch. Now it's on Greg Vanny to figure that out. And oh, by the way, he's in the last year of his contract.
There's no player more vital to a team than Ricky Pooch, and this is so evident this season. When you even go back to last year, LA Galaxy, they were great to watch attacking-wise, but they would concede a bunch of goals. I remember there was crisis around set pieces, Weeby. Crisis. They would concede every game from set pieces. They would concede a bunch of goals, but who would bail them out? Ricky Pooch. So we look at this season as disastrous, and it is, but I agree with you, Weeby. If Ricky Pooch is here, and it's lazy almost to just say this and not really dig into, what's really going on. It's really hard for us to figure out what's really going on with Vanny's side, but you put Ricky Pooch in this side. I know they've maybe got a little weaker. They're not sitting bottom of the table. I'll tell you that now.
Is it safe to say, though, that this is beyond the last year or two for the Galaxy, this particular situation?
Yeah, in some ways, especially in terms of roster construction. And I understand what the Galaxy did, and it made sense. They went all in to try to win a championship, and it's what the club had to do after so many really poor seasons. But when you go all in MLS, you remove a lot of the wiggle room in terms of making changes. And so in the offseason, this club had to make changes, and key changes came in the midfield in particular. Mark Delgado understood the way Greg Vanny wants to play to a T. Well, now you replace him with Lucas Sanabria, who breaks his collarbone, and he's out. And Elijah Winder is a guy making a huge leap in terms of level. You can't expect him to come in and carry the load in midfield. And then you have injuries on the back line, and you have a goalkeeper controversy, and then Ayers at goalkeeper, and Joseph Paintsel is injured, and now you see what I'm saying about a domino effect. It's not just one thing. Ricky's the biggest thing. There are a lot of things happening within the club and within the squad that make it very difficult. But, and it's a but, they should not be this bad. Greg Vanny and this group have to find a way to build some semblance of momentum and pull their way out.
So we've used the word disastrous, and I think everybody in Atlanta would also agree that Atlanta United is off to a disastrous start as well. When you take a look at the Eastern Conference table, you see Atlanta United way down there in 12th place, 9 points from 9 games. Their worst start in franchise history. This team came into MLS in 2017. Bradley Wright Phillips. Let's talk attack and money. $50 million spent on this Atlanta United attack in the offseason.
They got that Weezy money.
This is what they have to show for it. If you're Atlanta United fans, who are you pointing your finger at?
I'm pointing my finger at both. Listen, you can't spend 50 million and not know what to do with those players. So dial up, figure it out. Understand how you're using them before they even get into the walls of the training ground. That's for one. But me as a player, when I'm on the pitch, I'm not thinking about the price tag, or when I'm at the training ground, I'm not thinking about the price tag. I'm not thinking about how much it would cost. I'm looking around and I'm thinking, how do I use this player? How do I use that player? How does he make me good? If I was Miguel Almiron, I'm asking Lochanise, where do you like the ball? When you go to the byline, are you going to take an extra touch? Are you going to cross it straight in? Then I know how to play with this guy. The same with Latte Lat and Almiron. They should know how to use each other and work. I'm not just going to blame it on Ronnie Dyler, because these are top players that should be able to figure it out. Good players should be able to play with each other. And they're not showing me that at any stage.
There's a shocking lack of chemistry with this team right now, Brad. And I agree with you that Ronnie Dyler's lineup tinkering hasn't helped that. But Ronnie's got to do something. He's got to try to mix it up and find the right combination. And for me, going forward, looking at the talent they have and the way that they spent, give Miguel Almiron a free roll. Find a way on both sides of the ball to let him go be his dynamic, energetic self, particularly in space. There were moments against the Rebs last weekend where Miguel Almiron is in space in a transition moment begging for the ball, and you don't play him. You don't play him? Look, first things first, just get the ball to your best players and let them cook. So if I'm Ronnie Dyla, it's Miguel Almiron in a free roll, it's Emmanuel Latte-Lat up front, and then it's those 2 fullbacks sending unpredictable early crosses in whenever they can. Right now, everything is a little bit too predictable, but by the way, it's maybe going to get a little bit more unpredictable in terms of lineups. Stian Gregerson, the starting center back, and Tristan Muyumba, both are out with strains to muscles. They'll be out for at least 3 weeks. It's gut check time for Atlanta. They got to find a way to generate a winning culture.
Brad, if you're on this team, what are you doing with the group to go build some chemistry?
It comes from the training pitch. Like I said, it's conversation. If I'm Latte Lat, obviously I played up front, I would need to know, what my wingers are doing, what the fullbacks are doing, when they're crossing. Are you crossing early? Are you taking a touch? I would speak to Almiron if he's playing in the 10 behind me. As soon as you get turned, I'm going to be spinning. I'm making a run in behind. Don't even wait. As soon as you get turned, just know I'll be running in behind. It's conversations, it's repetition. I think that has to be done at the training ground. I'm not sure what they're doing. I'm not sure if they are doing it or not, but for me, that was key. I had to talk to the players around me all the time.
Fast forward to October. Who finishes higher up the table, the LA Galaxy or Atlanta United?
5 stripes. Atlanta United for me. It just comes down to personnel. At least their personnel is there. We still don't know when Ricky Puig will return for this Galaxy team. And even when he does, he will be Ricky Puig coming off an ACL injury that required basically a year of rehab. So for me, based on the point deficit and based on personnel, I'll take Atlanta United.
I would have said the Galaxy, but we would just scare me with Ricky Puig maybe not coming back. And if he's not coming back, I don't see it. But what I would say about Atlanta, they've shown me what they're going to do, and I don't trust it. At least with the Galaxy, I know if Ricky Puig come back, that's going to look very different. It's a tough one, but I have to say
we talked about this last year on This Is MLS. SKC went and they burned a barn down. Come on, Atlanta, go do what you got to do. Go set it up, have a nice little chat, go out to dinner, burn a barn down.
Yeah, arson.
Whatever. Arthur Blank, I'm sure can set up something for you. Atlanta United this weekend will face rival Orlando City on the road. So go make a statement. Meanwhile, Toronto hosts New York City FC. Philadelphia Union taking on DC United. Charlotte looking to go 6-0 at the bank as they host the Revolution. Also, you've got Inter Miami hosting Dallas. The Vancouver Whitecaps traveling to Minnesota United. Before we say goodbye, somebody, maybe this was a little bit of like a rookie broadcaster initiation, decided to give our good friend and colleague Dax McCarty the assignment of a best 11 for match day 10. So have fun with that on social media. When you take a look at this lineup from Dax McCarty, he went with the old 3-5-2 there. You got Brian Wright, Diego Rossi up front, Dane St. Clair in the back. Brad, what stands out to you with this best 11?
I would have to say, Gio, listen, Daxie, you've done all right. You know, as for a rookie, you've done okay. I would change, I think, Melanda. I'd put Finn Sermon for Portland Timbers. He's been brilliant. I love, how he's been in 1v1 situations, aggressive. I haven't seen him chase down Denny Bwanga and made it look easy just a few nights ago. And then I think I would put in Espinoza in place of Anders Dreyer. I think Dreyer started the season very well, but I think Espinoza's been consistently good, and he has been for years. They will be my two changes I see straight off the top.
Get those knives out. Sharpen them up, Brad. We know how this goes. We got to dice this up a little bit now. I think Dax did a good job, especially midfield into attack. I really don't have any major quibbles there. It comes on the back line. Specifically, I'll start with goalkeeper. I like the shout of Dane St. Clair. I don't think Dane St. Clair has quite as much to do as, say, a Zach Steffen in Colorado or a Daniel in San Jose. So I would take either of those guys right now over Dane St. Clair in my best 11. On the back line, I'm willing to stick with Melanda. I think the quality and then the defensive performance of Charlotte there, even if he's had some little blips. But I would prefer Ranko Veselinovic over Tristan Blackman on Vancouver. That is a quibble, Dax. So we're basically on the same page in that sense. And then I completely agree with Brad here. Christian Espinoza has to be in this team. It looks like he was born to play that right wing back role, whereas Anders Dreyer is really more of a winger in a 4-3-3. So I think just positionality as well as production, 6 assists, best in MLS. I'll take Christian Espinoza, but give Dax a nice round of applause for snubbing one guy, and that's Lionel Messi. Thanks for sticking with OGs.
You know I wanted to ask you about that. When you take a look at Dax's starting 11, there is one player from Inter Miami, and that is Noah Allen. No Lionel Messi on an MLS best 11. Show of hands if you're okay with this.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, right, Brad? I think at the end of the season he'll be there. Exactly. So it's a moot point, right?
Right now we're good.
You two are like, that's the lamest answer ever. So I'm okay with it, but he's
not
wrong.
Best 11 right now. He's not best 11 right now. He just isn't.
He is. Look.
Okay, so you're building an MLS team right now for match day 10. You're not putting Messi.
Oh, you can't do that. We're doing best 11.
Different question, Jill. Different question. Not fair. Not fair. Look, we make different rules for the GOAT. I completely get it. But if you pushed Messi into the best 11 now, the rule would be it doesn't matter what Messi does in comparison to anybody else. He's just in there. Now, he will get there, but he's not there now. Good job, Dax.
Good job, Dax. Dax McCarty will be with you all weekend alongside Bradley Wright-Phillips in the rest of the game on MLS Season Pass with all the pre-show and post-show content along with MLS 360. Andrew Wiebe is heading out to LA. He will be alongside Taylor Coleman and Jake Sivan with some Sunday night soccer action. We will see you for now on This is MLS next week. My girl, Kaylin Kyle, will be back with you. Bye for now.